I will now begin Tahu's level of the alpha. So just like last time I recorded this game, version 1.1, try to say this again, version 1.1.1, which is the latest patch version I know of from the Beaver House for the alpha. Currently with that version, Tahu's level does not load. It crashes as soon as you try to enter it. Now this may potentially be something to do with the cutscene where Liwa and Tahu have a conversation. Or it might have to do with spawning into Imtup. So, for example, the names are different. We have a TPO1, TPO2, and TPO3. Oh, FVIL and FVIL, whatever. Okay, I'll see, looking at this list off the top of my head, I don't know which area it would be, but there's actually an area you're supposed to be in before you get to this one. It's actually unclear from the information in the game which one you're supposed to spawn into. I noticed that the Beaver House went back and forth on the beta as to the scene where the cutscene where Anua meets Gali should be in the gameplay or not. I think currently it's not. Anyway, so it fails, it crashes when you try to load it. But I don't have any copy of version 1.0.1 or version 1.1.0 or version 1.0.0. And I don't have a way of downloading older versions of patches. So I had to go back to a version I had laying around, which is version 0.007. But unlike last time I tried to record Tahu's level for the alpha, I didn't have to play that version as is. I could copy the base.osi file from it into version 1.1.1 with all the 1.1.1 data files, and it runs. So whatever patch was made that causes Tahu's level to crash in 1.1.1 was done in the base. It wasn't done in any of the assets. So I'm lingering around here and haven't walked forward because I have to point this out. So this is actually the exit to continue down into the level after you go through the village. You spawn here. And when I first encountered this, I thought, well, maybe they're just trying to be tricky. They are making you spawn right in front of the door that you used to leave, to try to make it so that it's difficult to think of how to leave. You have to try to go back the way you came, and you go, oh, that's clever, wow. But especially considering how they changed this in the beta. Well, last time I tried this, the anti-aliasing was working. Now it's not. Great. I'm not going to quit and restart just to make the anti-aliasing work. But it will work sometimes and not others. It's temperamental. Suggests that the intention when this room was modeled was for you to spawn here, where I'm jumping right now. This was supposed to be the entry point. Of course, it doesn't do anything. And the entry point, at least on version 0.007, they might have fixed it in later patches, but I can't demonstrate that because I can't get the later patches to work on Tahu's level. They just happen to have the wrong starting position for this area, which is called FVIL. So this direction, it seems like they intended this to be a door to an area that they never developed, but right now it doesn't actually go anywhere. In the beta, they left this whole tunnel here, but they put tokens here, so that it would seem like this has a reason to exist, instead of just removing it entirely. Of course, in the beta, the jump to get over here is more frustrating because the beta the Miru is nerfed compared to the alpha. So as for the beta, I decided a couple days ago that I wouldn't record me talking over the beta. I would just, due to the way the state the beta is, and its near completeness, I decided that, I don't know if I really have fans or not, but people watching YouTube would likely prefer to see a commentary-less long play of the beta as opposed to me talking during it. And so I made a commentary-less recording of the beta. It was done in 3 sessions, but I'm going to splice it all together and upload it all as one video. So the beta video will come after this one, and it will have no commentary. It will just be it'll just be gameplay, and that's it. Now I'll get back to that after this Takara. Okay, and then I believe that Veikama. Whoa! Oh no! Oh! Oh! Let's get out of here. Okay. Well, my anti-aliasing was working, but right now my skins are not working. This guy lost his lava board. In the alpha, these quests aren't realistically completable, especially in Tahu's level. One of these is Kapura. It's just hard to tell which because... Okay. Because he has no skin. Finally, I get to meet the one who I have heard much about. Are you Tahu? Yes, Kapura. And you are an amazing individual. How did you cross so much ground so quickly? Veikama said that I need to practice my special ability. Perhaps I'm getting good at traveling great distances by walking so slowly. It seems you have done so. You are a unique individual, Kapura. The reign of the Makuta is near its end. Now that all 6 Toa are here, we will soon begin our final quest. To face the Makuta and free Matanui. Good luck, Tahu. Yeah, Tahu behaves as if he couldn't even start his quest to find the masks until the other Toa had done theirs. Is this guy really blocking me from getting this token? Just... There you go. Block me in. That would be even worse. Okay. Acts like he can't even begin his quest to find masks until the other Toa complete theirs first. Because he has to be delivered his let's see here. Prerequisite 10 masks before he can go find his 2. I mean, he's just been waiting around and wandering around and going, like, kind of wandering about the island, being noticed by Matoran, until Leophis finishes his job and delivers him masks. And suddenly he turns into the boss. Like a hero boss as opposed to like a villain boss, you know what I mean? If that's even a good video game terminology. But anyway, as far as the commentary-less beta, I'd like to say some words about the state the beta is in. So, there has been, since I last tried the beta, I will talk about beta more in Rebuilt, because I will be talking in Rebuilt, because I want to react to what I see in Rebuilt. I have played Rebuilt before, but there might be some continual patching to Rebuilt going on, and there might be stuff I just want to point out. But, these are all the tokens over here, so it's time to leave the village. during the beta playthrough, there was one area. Well, first I'll talk about the quality. So it did turn out, the video did turn out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. Generally, when you do a commentary-less long play, you don't want to have a lot of, like, areas where you keep making a mistake or you kind of grind on them, because that just kind of makes the video just bad. It makes the viewer have to skip forward. And then that gets them in the habit of skipping forward, and then they skip forward a lot, more than they would otherwise if they hadn't got into the habit. But anyway, but there's a couple areas in Kopaka's level that where there's a little bit of grinding. One was the puzzle where you get the Okaku. It wasn't like last time where I cheesed it. I actually did it legitimately, but it took me a little bit to figure out how to do it. And then one of the ice skating area, the snowboarding area is board 3, which is the one that used to be really fast before the Beaver House patched it and made it still fast but slightly less fast. There was some grinding going on with that. But other than that, it seemed pretty good. Kopaka's boss did not take near as long as last time. So, survived Kopaka's boss without too bad of a recording experience. But anyway, Kopaka's level has received some new patching. There's a room with label sword, SWRD, that in previous that up until now has not worked correctly. But it seems like, I guess I'll call him Litestone, has managed to reproduce which I would look to me like, yes, is indeed the original intended functionality of that room with moving platforms. And so now it can be done in a way that seems like would have been the final product that Saphire was going for. Previously, that room, you would get through it by cheesing it with the Miru. Not the Miru, the Kakama. You don't have the Miru in Kopaka's level. You should have caught that. You can use the Kakama to do a long jump across the gap, but now you can do the grappling hook and moving platforms problem to do it, which is a much more comfortable way of doing it. So, Sword got patched. Kopaka's level and Pohatu's level. Congratulations to Kopaka's level and Pohatu's level, because those two levels are the levels that do not crash. Or at least they have not crashed for me in my playthrough attempt. So, Pohatu's level and Kopaka's level went through essentially without a hitch. Pohatu's level still has that stick to the ceiling during the bull ride thing going on in the second bull ride area. So it had a little glitch, but other than that, it works perfectly. As far as what I have encountered on my playthrough. Perhaps, like, if you get a little bit less lucky, then you will encounter problems with those levels on your playthrough. The other levels were somewhat of a crash salad. Anua's level crashed 2 or 3 times, and the crashes were associated with destroying of hives or freeing of Rahi. Although I was either when I did so or shortly after doing so. Galley's level still crashes if you jump on a Rahi. And I don't remember the label, but the area where you grab the cow and you fight a bunch of Takia sharks before you grab the cow, that area is very crashy. And it took me many tries to get through it without crashing, and while I was doing said tries, it didn't seem like I would ever be able to do it without it crashing, but I couldn't get the debug menu to work on the beta, so I had to keep trying until it worked, and I finally got it to work, but it was Not easy. So once I got through the area where we got the cow, I managed to get through the entire, like, final bits of Galley's level, the shrine challenges, and the boss, as well as Pohatu's level, followed by Kopaka's level without a crash. It did not crash again until all the way into Liwa's level in the area where you pick up the Mahiki. And in that area, it crashed twice. One of them is the only bit of footage that did not end up in the recording because it crashed so hard that I had to force quit OBS, and that made it so the recording got lost. That token doesn't want to be grabbed. I better bail out and get that energy though before I run out of energy. Come on. Yeah. And then the sliding area in Liwa's level, where you use the when you slide. That area. Oh, I ran out of energy. This, and I will go back in for tokens. That still crashes upon death. And the way I actually completed, the way I managed to complete it in my long play was, I believe, on my third or fourth attempt. And it was by means of having to fall off the top very early on in just the right way that I ended up at the end of the slide. So I got kind of a lucky break on that area. So that's still crashing. Tahu's level was fine. Something that did go wrong is that if you fail, you exit the game, or you get a crash in. Well, I don't know if you exit the game, but I got a crash in Anua's platforming challenge for Makuta's level, and that's good enough on the token grabbing, I think. It respawned me into Tahu's boss when I loaded the save file, and so I had to do Tahu's boss a second time. What am I doing? So this is a maze area. This is the alpha version of Ta 4, or the alpha Ta 4. In the beta, they replaced this level with a completely different level, or at least this area with a completely different area, which makes sense because this area is very unpopular with the players of this game. It's probably unpopular with the people within Saphire as well. It's not a particularly fun area. Which is a kind of a long jump. These are kind of long jumps. I'm using the Miro just to be safe. Anyway. This is just an area that was cut in the beta and replaced with something that was both meant to be more fun than this, but also gives them more of an excuse to include a grappling hook in Tahu's level. I mean, they're already using the grappling hook to get out of the village, but the beta Tahu 4 gave them more use for the grappling hook. So anyway, the beta is done. When I do rebuild, I will turn the mic back on and try to, as I see things, say things about them that I think people might want to hear. I don't know. So that will happen. So for this one, I'm just going to say things about the alpha as I see them, and about the Legend of Machinui as a whole. I'm going to reiterate some things from the first recording. So every time I review a Bionicle game, I first bring up the canonicity of it. And the fans were hoping that by recovering the lost Legend of Matanui, that they would retrieve some story content of Bionicle, Bionicle 2001 that had been not published. For example, there was a rumor, maybe it was perpetuated by Greg Farshtey himself, that this game would contain a Shadow Toa fight, which is something described in the style guide, and there's a slightly different version of it described in C.A. Hapka's Tale of the Toa, which was published in 2003, even though it was a novel of 2001 storyline of a Shadow Toa fight. But we didn't have the piece of game media that was most respected by the fans, the Matanui Online game, did not depict such a Shadow Toa fight. Given what was in the Matanui Online game did indeed make it into the style guide as well. Okay, I guess the Bionicle story team liked it well enough that they let it be in the style guide. Unfortunately, that's not in there, and this game doesn't really act like a piece of story media. More so, it acts like just an adventure game, and much of its story, whatever, if you could call it that, is driven more by gameplay mechanics than it is by the canon Bionicle 2001 story. If you can even say that the canon Bionicle 2001 story is a thing. But there is a style guide entry describing the story from 2001, so I guess it is. I realized I'm going the wrong way on this level multiple times. I'm trying to get tokens. So that's why I'm going the wrong way. Phooey. So there are multiple things depicted in here that are not canon. Obviously, the specifics of the areas and the platforming challenges are not canon because they are not designed specifically to be canon. They're designed to be gameplay challenges. Like, there is no canon story of Tahu hopping across burnt hamburger patties that are floating on lava in this very grid-like maze structure area place. Collecting energy pickups and tokens and dodging falling fireballs. Okay, there's actually one more token I haven't gotten, but no use crying over one token. So I'm gonna go for the exit now. Of course, this game depicts the Toa using the noble masks that the Turaga wear, and Monog does this too. I think they do it because they wanted to use... probably two reasons. One is... the Noble Masks were collectibles that you could get in the mask packs. You could collect a Noble Mask of all 6 shapes and all 6 colors. And because they were collectibles, Templar might have gotten confused and thought that there were 6... in the story, there existed each of the 6 Noble Masks in all 6 colors, and you, the mask collecting Bionicle fan, since you would collect all of the Great Masks as well as the Noble Masks, the Toa in the story would also collect the Noble Masks as well as the Great Masks, and then if they collected them, they could use them. Now, someone asked Greg Farshtey about this on BZ Power way back, Oh, phooey. I did that wrong. That kind of ruins the gameplay a little bit. Let's play a bit, but whatever, I'll just do it again. And he said, no, I don't think that would be canon because I don't see how, I can't really describe the mechanics of how it would work if the Toa were using a mask that the Turaga were currently wearing. Like, what would that be like to the Turaga? Could the Turaga also use that mask power at the same time? Well, I think Greg Farshey didn't really understand the question. I don't think Templar was going for the Toa using the Turaga's masks while they were wearing them. They're going for the Turaga having to hunt down and collect the 6 noble masks. And there would be another copy. They would collect their own noble masks. They wouldn't be using the Turaga's. Anyway, it's still not canon though. So this game tends to confirm how I thought Monog was depicting when I first played Monog, in that in this game the Toa collect the noble masks, and that has been confirmed by WOG to not be a thing. Although he maybe didn't understand the question, he did say that the Toa would not be using noble mask powers. So, if he said it, then it's true. Regardless of what motivated him to say it. Also, this game shows that only each mask power needs to be collected once, and once it's collected by one Toa, it can be copied to the rest of the Toa. As we know from the comics and the novel Tale of the Toa and Monog, no, each Toa has to collect all 6 mass powers on their own. And so for all the mass to be collected, that's 30, let's see, 30, because they come with one mask on their face out of the canister. 30 individual mask collecting events. Because this game didn't want to have to program in a sampling of the total mask collecting events for some reason, and of course didn't want to program 30 individual masks into the game, or 30 individual mask finding challenges, they decided to make it so that you only have to collect 12 masks, including Great and Noble, only 2 for each Toa. And this makes sense from a gameplay perspective, but of course, it's not canon. This game also depicts these kinis, which is the Matoran word for shrine, one for each Toa, that are built in these weird secluded places throughout the island. Now, the Matoran building ziggurats is not something really foreign to the BIONICLE story. Of course, there is a Great Kini Nui meaning great, and Kini meaning shrine or temple, that was, I presume, built by Matoran. There is no, you would think if there were these shrines to the Toa, one in each Wahi, they would be mentioned in other story media, but they are not. So, in the beta, there's a cutscene when you carve the lava board out of the pillar supporting the boulder. And there's another one when you surf into this room. In the alpha, those cutscenes, at least not in this old patch version, are not working. So I'm going to try to grab these tokens, but I can't see the platforms under them because it's aliasing that badly. Yeah, just to be clear, sometimes when you load this game up, the anti-aliasing works. This is only a problem on the alpha, not the beta, but sometimes it just doesn't. So, get this stuff, this obnoxious aliasing stuff happening where you can't see things. And the lava board's over here, I'll grab it too. Unlike in the beta where the lava board is in a place where you can't actually get it, because it's on a platform that doesn't actually have any collision. Unless you jump down right on it. That would give you, there's some risk in creating a crash when you do that. If that was done for gameplay reasons, it's obviously not canon. Oh, I was talking about the, it was actually, I was already on to the Heenies. So you think that those, if those were as important as they would seem as depicted in this game, then they would also be mentioned in other media, and so they're likely not canon. The game just crashed. Well, try loading it up again. You could say that the reason why this is not canon is almost entirely due to how it was just not released. If it was released, it would have been considered more canon, or more respected for its canon material. So, what was I going to say about stuff not canon beyond this? Oh yeah, the bosses. So this game obviously has bosses at the end of each level because, well, that's how you construct an adventure video game, is you put a boss. Okay, I can start playing now. Each level ends with a boss. However, the actual Bionicle story doesn't the canon Bionicle story as we know it today in 2021 of 2001, oops, I was about to really mess up there, doesn't have any mention of these bosses. Or these elementals, as they call them in the game. So that's something for gameplay purposes as opposed to being canon purposes. So what about this does seem to be canon? Well, at the beginning of each level, there's a little scene where there's a little conversation between the Toa from the previous level and the Toa in the next level. And these conversations, sometimes they're copied almost directly out of the comics or the novels, and they seem to accurately depict the personalities of the individual Toa as characters. Also, the Toa have conversations with various Matoran, like Kapura, and their conversations do seem to accurately depict their personalities. Okay. Aw, phooey. Turaga, on the other hand, don't seem to have any personality, and Nuju speaks English. Or Matoran, but they always write English in the game, because, you know, they don't expect you to understand. They weren't try hard enough to construct an entirely new language. They didn't make a they didn't make Matoran like Klingon, and actually make it so that there'd actually be like a complete complete language. But anyway, they only made up the necessary terminology. Anyway, also there's a bit of a in media like Tale of the Toa, they depict sort of like what we would call a rite type of nature to the mask collecting. What I mean by that is, for example, sometimes the mask of water breathing would be hidden underwater. So you have to swim for it, right? So you'd be worthy of getting the power of water breathing once you well, could learn how to swim. You'd be worthy of getting the power of... Or they would say hide someone's mask of levitation, or I guess it would be Artaka who would do this, in a tree. And then Tahu says, why don't we just burn up this tree and then we can get the mask? And then Gali argues with Tahu and says, no, think of the creatures that live in this tree, and so on, right? But they would do things like, yeah, put the mask of water breathing underwater and the mask of levitation in a tree. Whereas in this game, The Legend of Matanui, they seem to kind of respect that idea. So, when you get the mask of, before you can get the mask of levitation, although in the alpha this is not depicted as well because there's vines after you get it, but in the beta there's no vines after you get the mask. To get the mask of levitation, you have to first swing from vines. To get the mask of water breathing, you first have to do an underwater maze and find air bubbles in order to breathe. To get the mask of speed, first you have to ride on a Kane Ra and go fast. Before you get the Ruru even, you have to go through dark places. The opening of the game, the opening areas of Anua's level are very dark in hue. Before you get, this is a kind of a stretch, before you get the Vahi, you have to do a timing puzzle, because you do that TAO 11 area, but that's kind of a stretch. Let's see here. Yeah, I think I got it. Before you get the Mask of X-ray vision, you have to solve that puzzle that involves telekinesis and being able to get the right buttons in your line of sight. So a lot of these masks, you have to do a challenge in the game that's kind of like, would that mask could be helpful for you? That power would be helpful for completing the challenge, or it's just that challenge has to do with that power before you can get the mask that gives you that power. And this is very much like, well, other Bionicle media depicted the mask quest was like. So those are the two things that are kind of canon about this, is the Toa's personalities and the right kind of thing with collecting the masks, as well as, some of these mask powers are kind of realistic. The Mask of Speed helps you go fast. The Mask of Levitation does indeed help you levitate. The Mask of Time, obviously, isn't so realistic because it was way harder to use in canon than it's depicted in this game. But you wouldn't necessarily trivially just use the Mask of Time like as a thing to slow down time practically to complete platforming in the actual canon story. Although Veikama did it once. He slowed down his Shadow Hand with the Mask of Time. But he's Veikama, so he's crazy. Yeah, it's best to turn off the Kakama there, drop down into that pit. Okay, or just not jump. Just kind of do a whatever. You want to drop down into the pit, is my point. Makes it easier. The way I'm doing this area, or at least trying to do this area... Oh, I missed a button. I don't know if... Looks like it's not been hit, doesn't it? Now, wait. It's somewhat unusual. I'm wrapping around the outside first. And it's just because that's the way it worked last. The best way I could come up with for doing this. When Saphire wrote the beta, they made it so that each Toa would have one extra increment of life in their cache. So Tahu would have 3 plus 5, or 8 lives. And each of these fireballs would only eliminate 1/2 of each increment. Whereas in the alpha I have 3 lives, and each fireball eliminates, well, an entire increment. It's pretty brutal. Making this much more difficult than it is in the beta. The beta is a pretty easy area, it's pretty chill. Here, it is very much not chill. Made it. That is an audio cue for hitting the button. Okay. Go. 2 more buttons to go. Cue up the Miru. Yes, my hands are sweating. The sweat is real. I'm already down to 1 health increment. Panic is also real. Yeah, to somehow make this transition without getting blasted into oblivion. Ah, I got blasted into oblivion. And of course, I rant about this a lot, but this little cutscene you have to watch every time you respawn is very irritating. Because I just want to just jump right in. I don't want to have to wait for a little, short little 1-second cutscene every time I want to retry something. Ah! Okay, so now is this game canon? The short answer is no. Is this game any good? The short answer is yes. I like it. It has a nice and simple control scheme. You just use the WASD to move. You can use the arrow keys to move as well, but the location. But because you use Tab and Q to toggle masks, and E and R to toggle elemental powers, it motivates you to use the arrow keys the WASD specifically, as opposed to the arrow keys. And you use the mouse to point the camera and shoot in the beta, or point your energy sphere in the alpha. Ugh, ooh. Oops. That was a goof up. Could have recovered that too, and it still goofed up. Forgot to activate the mask. It's not like BIONICLE the game where your hands are all close together and it's all awkward. And the camera is controlled by a separate camera control. That's not the mouse. And the platforming challenges are about the right difficulty for the average video game player. I would argue, though, for the target audience of this, which would have been BIONICLE fans in 2001, which would have been of age about, I don't know, 7, this game is a little bit hard. So I would argue that it's a little bit hard. Well, I don't have any reasoning. I would claim with nothing to back it up, that this game would be excessively difficult for like the 7-year-old, which would be about the target audience of BIONICLE in 2001. counting the beta as a difficulty as what they would have closest to what they would have presented as their finished product, to judge by, not judging this because it's obviously not their finished product, they would have made this, which I'm doing right now, easier before they released it, of course. I might have missed some buttons in there. I'll know when I finish. Yeah, I did not get some of the audio cues. Now I'm down to 1 health again. Hey. Okay, good. I'm okay. Yeah, the reason why I was using the Kakama there as opposed to the Miru was I wanted to go fast. Because I wanted to get to that in platform there. I jumped a little too soon. Miru would have been too risky. I'd be more likely to land, but then I'm more likely to get destroyed before I landed. Whoa. It was a little bit too crazy. Oh. We got hit by one. Ah! Yeah, I don't really know what else to say besides this game is fun. I mean, it's just fun. That's just kind of all there is to it. Anyway, so there you go. I'll make random side comments, peanut gallery stuff as I go. Ran myself out of energy. That's not good. Got wrecked. I said that one fireball reduces you by a whole increment. They come in pairs. So you tend to get reduced by 2 increments at a time. So you really can only mess up 2 times. I mean, 1 time. I think it's kind of worth it to comment it off. Oof. Ah. How am I waiting? Doesn't matter. Okay. Like, that comes from like an old version of, or an old way of of doing this that I've done, where you jump across the eyes, but I do it differently now, so. I drop down into the hole, and now the timing doesn't matter as much. Used to matter a lot. It does, you do get a slightly less chance of getting hit by a stray ball, though, and losing a health unnecessarily if you do the timing. Because it will be not shooting by the time you get right in front of it. See, it's not shooting right then. Wait. I left a little bit too late. Oh, try not to overjump the button in the process. Sometimes I underjump. Accidentally reverted to jumping across the eyes. Don't jump across the eye. Just drop right. Just drop. Just drop. Just drop. There you go. You have to jump there, though. Just drop. Good. I got stuck in my head too much, and I just dropped. It's like practicing a musical instrument. You practice something so many times to really get it down, and then you have to do a different thing, and then you do what you practice instead of what you want to do. Oh, phooey. Drop in. Good. Lost 1 health so far. Jump. Good. And this is just dangerous, but I survived. Okay, we're gonna try. The Kodakama seems to be working well lately here. Sometimes. Good. Health lost. Ah! This would be a good idea for like a video game inspired minute hang challenge like scam. If you can, you pay $10 to try to have an hour to beat this particular room on the Legend of Matanui Alpha, and if you win, if you beat it, you get to take as a prize $100. Thing is, though, it's not. In order for those things to work, it has to be convincing. Like it look like you could do it. Like it's got to be convincing. Like the hang thing, like you would think you'd be able to hang for a minute, so you try it, right? The thing where you grab the dollar, right? You think you'd be able to grab the dollar, so you try it, or the $100 usually. This you go, yeah, I know I can't do this, and so you don't try it. Just go, it's a game meant for 7-year-olds. Why are you so sure you won't be able to do it? No. Oh, I didn't do that right. Oops. I mean, I would think that. Well, on Twitter, Meso and LJ, they asked, "What game do you think we should play next?" And it was Menal or Maze of Shadows, and the fans picked Menal. The problem is that I don't know if they can actually get Menal. If someone knows if Meanol is actually on Flashpoint, and if so, what its title is on Flashpoint and how to search it up, or if you have to do anything special to get it on your Flashpoint. Let me know. Trying to get a hold of a copy of Meanol, since it's been taken down. But anyway, so I can Let's Play it. But since the options were Meanol and Maze of Shadows, I'd presume that what they would do if they were going to make another Let's Play is play Maze of Shadows, which is kind of a shame because Maze of Shadows is really boring. But eventually they said they were going to do the Legend of Matanui, in which case, if you're going to do the alpha, which they probably will, they're probably going to do like Rebuilt or the beta, and probably skip the alpha entirely and just say, oh, it's too broken, we won't do it. It'll be fun to watch, like, Meso try to do this, and then after, like, 2 tries using the debug menu to skip it. Because he doesn't care, he just cheats, so it's reckless abandon. Okay. Up, out of energy. Great. Well then, there's like absolutely no way to do this if I'm out of energy. Don't use too much Kakama is the lesson I learned from there, because you eventually run out of energy. Okay. So don't use the Kakama running up here. Now you activate it, because you have to activate it to get around through this part. It's enough Kakama. Oops, gotta jump there. Two increments of energy. Keep running, don't stop, keep going. Okay. Ah, I messed it up. Don't stop at the corner. Keep going. Good. See if I can comma jump this. Yes, I can. Okay. Ah! I'm okay. Okay. So, comma jump. I still missed it. Get up on the and I ran out of energy. Well, so I'll solve that problem. So I upgraded Tahu's energy ball. In the beta, they replaced this with like some sort of secret glyph, which I don't know what it does. So this is supposed to be a mini boss, which has some sort of functionality, which doesn't really function quite right. You can throw your upgraded spear at it, but I don't think it actually has a health bar. So, because I believe this boss does not function 100%, it doesn't actually work, I'm just going to use a debug menu to get to the door that's supposed to open once you finish the boss. Something to do with events or something? You do something, maybe you do something with events, I'm not sure. And you're supposed to do something with it to eventually defeat it. But I don't believe that it actually works. So, because I don't believe it actually works, I'm just going to skip it. Good music, though. This is the music that plays during the area I just went through in the beta. So I'm going to do ints, go through the door, Control/ints. Okay. Just gonna drop through and start surfing. The other way. I believe this area is not in the beta. It's called Tahu 7. If I recall correctly. Now the pillar hitboxes are bigger than they show, so getting these tokens is trickier than you think. Ah, I missed one. It wasn't clear if you hit the pillar, you die. It's not really a pillar, it's lava falling down. Oh, this thing in the beta. Oh, we're going slower here in the alpha though, so it's less bad. The beta, you're surfing much faster, and this goes woof. You have to turn your mouse DPI down. Jump. Ding, yes. Okay, so this is in the beta, it's just that it's, like shortened. Okay. Part 8 or something? That's Part 8, okay. Have a platform, okay. Phew. Now, in the alpha, this area is pretty tough. You have to kind of stand on top of the, like, you gotta stand on top of, like, the jut out. And then jump in for it to work. Don't know why. You can't really, like, drop, because you get too much speed and then you don't get through. That's easier in the beta, obviously. Now we're gonna try to land. What? There, it isn't even. Oh, there it is aliasing. And then you're supposed to ride this out of the area, but like, it doesn't go. So we can't actually finish this in the alpha. So we're gonna use the debug menu to warp to the next area. So we are in Ta 9 right now. So let's go on to Ta 10. I believe these go in order. This is where you go after you land on the lava board. If it were to work. Except the beta goes to Ta 8. But here we've already done Ta 8, so we're gonna have to go to Ta 10. Got gap jumps here. Is it supposed to fall on me or something? That mechanic doesn't work. Some really stressful geography here. Imagine actually doing this. Oof. Okay. It's like the current's going sideways to Tahu. The physics doesn't account for that, but if it did, that would make that part really hard. Ah, it crashed. Fuber gibbet. After task manager. Pull to process. Okay, now restart the game. Alt tab to OBS. I don't see the menu actually show up in the recording thing. So go back to the game. Go back to kbps. Still isn't showing up. Back to the game. There's a problem with the alpha. This never happens in the beta. Where it, like, doesn't start capturing. Okay, now it started capturing. So the shrine crashed on me. Let me see if load game works. Yay, got to the shrine. Of course, Tahu's supposed to be rendered in this cutscene, and he's not. So you just see kind of like the landscape moving around. He flips up and over top of that, those rock spires. Invisibly, okay. One of the shrines that seems relatively unchanged from the alpha to the beta. The beta, they tend to make all the shrine areas small. Wasn't really changed in, well, whatever. I'm gonna say on Nua's level, but on Nua's level they closed off doors. Same thing with Pohatu's level. Some tokens to get. The grain crashed again. Okay, so don't die in the shrine, I guess, is a lesson. Let's try again. Okay. Wait for it to capture. Still capturing a black screen on me. Probably something to do with DG Voodoo, why it does this. the way it scales the game up into 1080p isn't quite right. Like it, well, first, like it just scales it. It doesn't really. It does something weird to get into 1080p. Anyway, OBS makes obvious all the weird scaling of things that happen. See if I can load back into the shrine. He's just using the Huna. Okay, I am wearing the Miru, am I not? No. Oh, it tricked me. My face says Miru, but I'm actually wearing... There we go. I was actually wearing a Picard, and so it didn't actually Miru. Okay. Don't die in the shrine. I'll drop on this pillar just to be safe, because I know not to ever die in the shrine. Get these tokens. Where I have to go? Holy moly. I hope not. Oh yeah, okay. Challenges. Oh, this with no anti-aliasing. This will be fun. Okay, so I learned from my beta playthrough that this is easy to for some reason I have an easier time. My mind has an easier time wrapping itself around this if I put the camera as far down as possible. Point the camera down. Or, we just use that the mirror was not nerfed in the alpha, and just do this. Platforms are coming up, so this level obviously doesn't work how it's supposed. This area obviously does not work how it's supposed to, if you're wondering. I guess I gotta entertain the kind of the line of platforming at the beginning somewhat, such that, like, it will, like, spawn all the platforms, right, so I can keep going. So if I don't, it won't spawn the platforms. Now it's actually making the platforms. Ah. Was going to entertain the platforming, but sometimes it just doesn't want to be entertained. No. There's some jet outs. I don't know if they can support my, like, they're too slopey or not. Okay. The Vahi on a pedestal. So on that game loading, hold on, I gotta open my blinds. This will take a couple seconds. Okay, now that blinds are open, when you load this game, from a save, I guess it doesn't load that I got my upgrade to my energy ball. So I have to now give myself the energy ball. Unfortunately, you can only give yourself all the powers or none of them. So I have to give myself all the powers now. Okay. And I believe this area works horribly in the alpha. Does not work right at all. Yeah, so great. Yeah. Fell right through. All falling right through. Fell right through. Crud. Oh, crud. None of them are. They're all gone. Then have at least like one platform actually like stick. Stick. No. Stick. No. Stick. The RNG, like the way this level works is so bad, this area, that I'm actually willing to skip it with the debug menu need be. Not gonna grind through it if it just consistently just never gives me a platform. Ah, there's a platform. See. Shoot. Oh, grab it. Okay. Did it. Now, these guys, will give me a platform? Someone give me a platform. Oh, there's no checkpoint in this. Oh, poo. Beta, they give you a checkpoint, so you get through the first half, and you don't have to do it ever again. Here, you don't have a checkpoint. You just have to... They're all falling in. I think it's possible to get this done if you do it on your first try before everything breaks. With subsequent attempts at this, the area just breaks more and more. And so it's like, it's becoming like literally impossible at this point. Okay, it's become impossible. So... Did the token like respawn? That's weird. I'll take a shot at the second half again. Nope. Okay, that's enough. This area is too broken to be completable. I have now deemed it. Can you beat this area in the alpha despite its brokenness? Probably if you do it on your first try, but I've already blown it. It's no longer my first try. Or a very early try, because it breaks more and more the more you attempt it. You always go opposite direction you're pointed. So if you point down, you go up. So you point down, you go up. Point up, you go down, and so on. Okay. So maybe somewhat lazy of me, but I deemed that functioning too improperly to be practical. Platforms just drop right through into the lava. But that's designed to be a feature, or see, they just kind of fall all the way through. And so they're unusable as platforms. All of these late ones are all falling all the way through. The only thing that could possibly save you is the crazy, super-powered mirror you have in the alpha. Now, this would have been impossible. Look, I wouldn't have, oh, that one would have, I would have to jump all the way from that one to here. It would not have worked. Anyway. Go on to the next area, which is the worst nightmare. And it crashed! Great. Task manager. Full process. Okay, start the game up again. Okay, now go to OBS and see if it's recording. Yes, it is. Go to the game. Load game. Okay, we've been here, it's broken. We're gonna do warp 2 area. Right now we're in TAW 12, we're gonna go to TAW 13, which is the next one. This is where I believe you're supposed to go. I'm gonna backtrack out and see. I'm gonna make sure that it's supposed to go to TAW 13. No, I was not. What's this one supposed to do? What's this one? TPO2. Okay. The inlet. Oh, okay. So no, the answer is no. TAW 12 does not go to TAW 13. It also doesn't go to TPO2. Because TPO2, you go into it from the shrine. I'll figure this out eventually. I can read this here. See if it's upside down. It looks like it is. Let's go around to the other side. You can't look at it from the other side. I have to read it upside down? It's cruel. Okay. What ends with you will be K-E-D Depth. You will be debt. No, you will be kept. Yes, kept. Okay. That's no, there's a T. I couldn't tell at first. I don't want to jump on there because it'll fall out from under me. But the aliasing is making it so hard to read. Have caution when walking. The floor watch, I think it's like looks like SE, that's not a word. No, B, okay. LD, ALD, CO, is that an O? COALD. No, CO, you could be, okay. That F. It's one letter that I really can't read. RS. Well, whatever. Oh, you're first. Okay, watch your step in walking. Your first step could be your... The first step could be your last. He from oh goodness. Well, you can pause the video and decode. It's gonna take you on too long. But basically, don't fall through, essentially. I'm gonna get that token though. Oh, now I can read it. From above will come falling crumbling whatever. Okay. That's all there is to that area. Shielding glyph. Even though it's not the image that's supposed to be on a shielding glyph, that looks like an upgrade to the energy bulk glyph. just leave. This takes you to Tahu 13. Okay. Which you're supposed to use the Mask of Time to do this, but the Mask of Time, though I have it, does not work. So we're going to try using the Miru. It's not going to be easy. Eventually, the platforms will stop working correctly, and then it'll be even more not easy. You have to, like, modulate your Miru. You have to watch for the overhang when you jump off at first as well. That'll mess you up. Ah! Oh. Thought I could do something more complicated than I could. Okay. Just didn't get a good hard start on this one. Oh yeah, the pattern changed. Now they're not working correctly anymore. Yay! See, they're not undulating in the right pattern anymore. In the beta, there's checkpoints in this. Here, there are no checkpoints in this. You always have to start back from the very beginning. You can also do this using the Kakama. It's just harder. If Kakama suits your fancy, it would work too. Almost did. Just need to use a little bit less Miru somehow. Like really close. This kind of stuff really hurts me when you have to wait for it. You really don't want to have to wait for it. Yes. 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 And yes. Okay. Ah. That was a good run, but then that happened to me. Oops. Too long there. Oh, and I'm out of energy. It looked kind of final, but it's not. Okay, so how we're going to go about this is we're going to max energy, and we're going to hit home a little bit. Okay, so that's 7 energies, which is 1 fewer than what you would have if you played as Tahu in the beta. Let's go again. Of course, in the beta, you would just use the Vahi to do this, as opposed to the Miru. And the area would be slightly different. There'd be, like, grapple hook stuff in it, stuff. That was close. This is taking a long time, I agree. I'm not helping it. Finally did it, and it crashed. But I did it. Box has been checked. Didn't do it natively. I did use the debug menu to give myself extra energy, basically. But after doing that, I managed to do it. Because it would seem that I tried to restart the game and it crashed on restart. Game crashed on restart again.
Can I play?
Try again. Okay, finally made it back in. So it wasn't perfect. It wasn't like perfectly no debug menu, but it was a very relatively light debug menu, right? I didn't like skip to the end using the debug camera or something like that. Let me try to load. And it loaded back into Tahu 13. So let me try to guess what the next area would be. So you would think Tahu 14, but I think it's actually TPO3 is actually the next area, if I were to guess. And we can try to confirm that by backtracking. We can try, but we will not succeed. Jump around here and get all the tokens. Have the mirror ready if necessary. This appears to like it's supposed to be a sort of mini boss. You're supposed to fight those Nui Rama, but they don't actually fight you, so there's no real fight. And then we just jump right into the middle of the nest, I guess. Okay, we dropped in, and now we got the volcano glyph. Even though it has the picture of the shielding glyph on it. Because this game just breaks. I have to get out of the nest somehow. I don't have energy balls, I just have the volcano glyph. Okay. And this is supposed to open, but it doesn't, so we're gonna debug menu through it. I presume it opens when you finish the mini-boss, but because the mini-boss doesn't work, it doesn't open. And this spawns me into Tahu 14, right. Made these oscillating doors in the alpha, I see. This is lame. For going the other way. Found you token I could see through the wall because of the aliasing. I sure didn't respawn right. Yeah, it crashed. Okay, see if it's recording. It's not recording. Okay. Check again. Still not recording. Check again. No, it's recording. Okay. I broke the save. Okay, well, I had somewhere around 60 tokens. Don't remember exactly how many. Check and see if it's recording. Yep, it's recording. So I broke the save, so I can't load game anymore. So I'm just going to go into... I'm just going to reload the whole level. And I'm going to warp to top 14, because that's where I was. What did I even do? Okay, try TPO3. Okay, got a correct spawn into top 4, top 14. Not easy to spawn correctly in. Now I try not to walk into the lava pit, because when we do that, apparently everything just gets completely messed up. Okay, because this area is kind of spooking me out and crashing, I'm going to get out of here as fast as possible. So, I know I need to go into the yellow zone to do that. That goes red, that's the wrong way. Let's drop in. Try this. That's back to... Oh, I died. Can we just not have... Can we just be like the beta and not have those doors? No, we need killer doors. Need to drop. Don't mess up the door. Good. Down into the chamber. Now, let's move on. And that crashed as well. Well, Okay. Let's pull the process. So I believe that's all of the areas. I'll go down them like in a checklist here. Well, first of all, will load game work from this situation? Yes, it will. Okay, so we've done, so top TPO1, I believe, is the one where the floor drops out from under you. Let's just check TPO2. Now that's where the floor drops out from under you. Okay. TPO1 is what I'm trying to get to query up, but I can't get. There we go. This should be. Okay, this is the first mini boss. This is where you get the first glyph. TPO3. We already been there. That's the other mini boss that also doesn't work. Boss is the boss. That's next. Shrine is the shrine. Village, you've been there. We've been to FVIL and FVIL. Mosh is the Takara. Tahu 1 is. It has like those kind of high stalag. Music in here is loud. So I can warp. I'll warp there just so I can get less loud music. Okay. It's this area. TAO2 is the one where there's two versions of it. There's like a lava fall, and then you can plug that with a boulder and it dries up. And there's some platforming you can do in there. And there's that lake of lava with the platforms that disappear. TAO3 is the one where the vents where you get the how. TAO4 is the maze area, right? Yeah, it's the maze. TAO5 is the crazy fireballs coming out of the eyes puzzle, or problem. TAO7 is lava surfing. TAO8 is more lava surfing. TAO9 is where you drop, is when you do the Miru and you drop down. TA10 is more lava surfing. TA11 is where you have those like little pedestals. It's the rapid jumping thing in the beta, but in the alpha it doesn't work quite right, so it ends up turning into a Miru problem by accident. Talk about TA11. And you end up, in the alpha, you end up getting the Vahi at the end. In the beta, you don't. TA12 is the one with the stalactites that fall from the ceiling that you shoot down that doesn't work right, because in the alpha they just fall right through. TA13 is the problem you're supposed to use the Vahi for, but the Vahi doesn't work in the alpha, so I went through with the Miru, but giving myself extra energy using the debug menu. TA14 is the, that maze area where there's like multicolored zones and there's a lake of lava in the middle. So we're going to go to the shrine now and attempt to go into the boss area, and it won't work, but we'll just go in there just for completeness. So I'll finish this off. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Hopefully it shows the cutscene. Yeah, the cutscene that does not have Tahu in it. Can I skip this cutscene with escape? Yes, I can. Oh, but it caused a crash when I did that. Oh, pooey. And it crashed on launch again. Try again. I think the crash has something to do with the task manager being open. Okay. Go to Tahu. Oh, can we load it? Can I load into the shrine? No, I can't. Okay. Warp to the shrine. And then don't skip this cutscene, because apparently if I do that, it crashes. Although I sure would like to, because it's really long. Okay. Now, give myself all the masks. So give myself time and shielding. And then give myself, oh, not that. All the elemental powers. And then give myself 70 tokens thereabouts. And let's go into the boss. Try to. Make sure that I'm actually queuing it. Yeah, I didn't actually have the mirror. It showed mirror on my face, but it was actually the Pakari that was queued. So when I tried to make this jump, I would have been in for a nasty surprise. Up. Boss door. It is not opening. If I give myself enough tokens, does it eventually open? No, it just does not open. Okay. We are in the shrine place. It says the shielding glyph, but you don't want to use shielding, you want to use the elemental power, so let me queue that up. And then go. And that's what happens when you try to put the boss from the beta into the alpha. It kind of just doesn't work. And you tend to fall through this thing a lot. But anyway, there's the area. Shoot down the stalactites. Something shoots at you when you do that. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it for Tahu's level. Let me check. And I'm going to have to do a base.osi swap, so I'm going to have to, no matter what I do, I'm going to have to quit out the game, so I'm going to do that. Quit. And instead of quitting back to the menu, it seems to be quitting to a crash, as usual. Okay, oh dear. So because of how late in the day it happens to be and how long this recording has gone, it's gone 2.5 hours. I'm going to do a stopping of recording here. The video is probably going to still continue because I'm probably going to splice something on. but it's going to happen some other day. So this is going to be a cut right here. It's one day later, and we're back to the new base file. So this is the base file from 1.1.1 because I want to play the latest version when all possible. And we're going to jump now into the Makuta's level. And the first part of this is going to be somewhat challenging. So I'll start talking about, I'll do so probably after I get through Anua's challenge and I make a bunch of grunting noises while doing it. Stay at this. Well, it's not going to happen on this attempt. Right, if I can skip these. Oh, I have to do it. I have to be all smart about it now because this is the alpha. You have to release early. I did that, and then I did the beta playthrough at first, and it caused me to mess up because, well, in the beta you can't release early. See if I can skip to the third platform. Can't. I have to go one. Okay, it's going to restart me. Go. Oh, poo. That's so hard to grab. I have to jump first, and then I do it. And it's double jumps. Grapple straight up. Punch across. Two at a time. Go. Good. Go. Good. Now I believe this one's tricky in the alpha. You tend to overshoot it. Stop early? Yeah, I overshot. Okay. Grapple straight up. Jump. Go for it. Skip platforms. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it and release really early. Good. Jump. Go for it. Go for it. Okay. I already goofed up this run. This run's dead. Crap. I'm saying bad words now. Okay, I can't skip. Good, I'll implement that in the future. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. It grapples straight up. Right out of the chocks. Don't do that. Go for it. Go for the wall. Shoot. Shoot. For the grapple. No. Well, this run's dead too. I don't want to run out of time while I'm grappling, because that'll make the grapple noise permanently on the soundtrack. That will be obnoxious. So I'm trying to avoid that. No one wants to watch that continuously. This run's dead too. If I have to do 2 shots to do that, that's just too much time. What? Well, I froze the grappling hook into the soundtrack. Oh, phew. Avoided the soundtrack disaster. Oh. Run's dead. You have to actually do the jump? Okay, well I guess I do have to actually do the jump. Now I've done it. I'm still avoiding the sound glitch. Oh, nope, run's dead. Oops. Well, I'll try to rescue this, but I already made a fatal mistake, so I probably... No. My motivation's gone, because I already made that mistake. So making more mistakes. Nope. Okay, run's dead again. Okay, I'll remember that platform skip for later. Nope. Nope. This one's dead, I'm just going to use it to practice the platform skip. Or just die. It's going to cause a ledge grab on me. Nope, okay, good. Run's dead. Good. Good. Too close to the edge. Okay, I'm gonna wipe it out. Getting to the point now where we're just gonna wipe out all the dead runs. No! No! Fui! Oh, not gonna make it. Good enough. That was indeed good. Aim reticle. Edge aim. Aim. Oh. Nope. Ah. Aim. 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 Okay, so now I passed that stressful Anua's platforming challenge. So last time while I was in Tahu 5, I briefly said, I think this game is good. You'd probably expected me to say something a little bit more than that. But when I talk about whether or not a game I think is good or bad, or what's good about it, what's bad about it, what I tend to find is that with any and all video games, my thoughts on the video game are always dominated by one aspect of it. So there isn't really a whole lot to say about it. Kind of the thing about this game is like how its character. What I think about when I think about it is the anticipation of whatever is going to be in the next area you encounter. You walk through a dark door, and you don't know what's going to be on the other side. You go, phew, I finished that. And then you go through the door, and you encounter the next challenge. And it's unlike stuff like the world's hardest game, where, yeah, you don't know what's going to be in the next challenge. With this game, each challenge is associated with something unique in its mechanics and unique in its scenery. And there's unique art for each, area or whatnot. Well, I can't get that grapple. That's a problem. I need to be able to get that grapple. Well, let's go for the jump then. Whoops. Can't go for grapple underwater? Oh, you're cruel. Okay, I guess I just have to make the grapple somehow. So this isn't really a story-based game. You don't really play it for the story. However, there is somewhat of a analogous feeling or mood you get to it to that of a page turner, where you kind of want to turn the page to know what's going to happen next, but you kind of don't, because you kind of don't know what to happen next. You know that feeling you get when you're reading a very good novel? It's kind of like that with the areas you encounter and the platforming challenges you'll have to do. It's like you want to know what to do next, but you kind of don't, because it might be hard. And it's, as the genre is named, this adventure that you go on. That's why it's called an adventure game, I guess. Where you go over each mountain and you see what's on the other side, and it's something new. It's a new view that you haven't seen before. And the layout of the art and the creativity of the various challenges, like this, now you have to ride a bull, now you have to shoot targets, now you have to shoot stones that are falling, now you have a race, for some reason Pohatu's level sticking out in my mind. You have to do snowboarding, you have to do lava surfing, you now have this, you have to dodge the fireballs, blah blah blah. And what's going to throw at you next is the appeal of the game, more so than any sort of story content. So it gives you some sense of achievement as you overcome each platforming challenge. And there's this sense of adventure as you go from one platforming challenge to the next. So, and that's about it. Like, it's dominated by one thing. There isn't really much else to say about the game. Because it's dominated by this one feeling you get when you play it. And it does a very good job in invoking that. I know Liam complains about the controls being janky, but in my opinion it plays pretty well, especially, well, I haven't played like any real video games yet, but compared to BIONICLE the game, if that's anything, this game controls pretty well. But I know BIONICLE the game is known for controlling terribly, so that's like saying, it tastes better than Spam, for those who don't like Spam. So something I like to list off, because my beta playthrough is commentary-less, don't really talk much during the beta, is like from, I forgot, I said at the beginning of this Let's Play, like when this alpha is from, it's from like July or August or something. From when the alpha was harvested from this version to the beta how the game changed and how that changed its nature. So, the first thing that makes the beta different from the alpha is there are more Rahi in the levels. There are more mechanics associated with the Rahi because they have hives you have to destroy. And that makes it so that the game seems to have a higher focus on combat. You're feeling like you're fighting with stuff more often when you play the beta than when you play the alpha. And the mechanics, your weaponry, being like a gun in the beta, seems like it's more designed to be used to do combat, and the game seems to be more built around the idea of combat. Whereas in the alpha, you have this energy sphere thing, which in most of the levels doesn't even happen, doesn't even appear like it's supposed to until you pick up the glyph, which will disappear if you have to load the game again. Most of the levels, I think, all of them besides Nua's level, have almost no combat, and you never use the combat features. Mostly because they don't even work. So, and in the beta, the combat features work, and with the ammo mechanic, it seems like the game is more meant to have combat in it, and there's a lot more combat. So it feels like a little bit more of a fighting game than an adventure game for that reason. Also, the bosses work, and the bosses are combat challenges as opposed to platforming challenges like the rest of the areas. And at each village, you have to, in order to progress in the story, and even talk to the villagers, you have to defeat all of the Rahi that are in the village. Now, I would argue that this is a lot less Lego feeling. Lego, in general, tends to be very opposed to warlike stuff in their media. In fact, recently, the Technic designers were going to release a model of the Bell V.1.1.1 Osprey, which kind of is a special thing to me because that's something that my dad worked on his first civilian job, and it wasn't necessary. He didn't necessarily like the job so much because he was like a young engineer at the time. But it's something that has something to do with my family, the V-22, by Bell helicopter. So I considered maybe actually getting the set, but of course it got canceled, and I wasn't able to get one of the very few that you could actually find secondhand or on happened to make it to a store before they canceled it, because a few actually ended up in the wild before they canceled it. Anyway, because it was primarily a instrument of war, the B-22. I know they put rescue stickers on it in the set, but it wasn't used as a rescue vehicle. It was used as a war vehicle. And the idea of throwing energy or throwing stuff at your opponent, yeah, throwing things is violent. You can throw rocks and it kills people. You can throw Molotov cocktails and it kills people. But the beta mechanics, those are like shooting. And shooting has a much more violent stigma than throwing does. I mean, if you wanted to be not warlike, you would more avoid shooting than throwing. And so, yeah, the beta and its shooting mechanics is very un-Lego-like. It's not something you would expect Lego in a piece of Lego media. And the increased emphasis on combat as opposed to adventure is also very less Lego-like. And so the beta is not as good a representation of Lego and BIONICLE also. If supposed to, if they just finished the alpha as is and not made revisions to it, they just tried to perfect what they had. Also, shooting weapons is not something that you saw in the early years of BIONICLE's story. The Matoran threw discs, and the Toa didn't have anything that was shooting. Now, when we got to the flashback years, we finally got spinners, which are kind of shooting, although not particular. I don't know why I can't get the grapple thing to reach. I don't know what's going on with this. But we didn't really get anything that was really shooting into 2007. 2006, there were Zamor spheres, but they didn't do damage. They just they shot viruses or cures. in 2007, then we got the Kodak blasters, which actually shot bullets that would, on impact, blow up. They're actually like a conventional combat weapon that you could associate with war. That was 6 years later, and back in 2001, the whole atmosphere of the thing didn't really have guns in it, just like it didn't have wheels in it. Anyway, so next thing that's different about the beta than the alpha. There's fewer glyphs. So in the alpha, you have to collect the 2 masks of power in each level, and you have to collect 3 glyphs. Usually one is on the way from the village to the shrine, and the other 2 are in these challenges that you do around the shrine. There's some exceptions. I think in Liwa's level, they're all in challenges around the shrine, for example. But, and there were areas in the level that you would explore to find these glyphs. Well, when they came up with the beta, they decided to make fewer glyphs, which kind of makes sense. One of the glyphs was the shielding glyph, and, well, it was redundant with the how and wasn't used for anything. One was the, it's like I got that green circle just momentarily there. The upgrade to the energy ball, when they changed the mechanic to a shooting mechanic, they could have upgraded your shooting, but they didn't feel like they needed to, so they just got rid of that as well, leaving only 1 glyph left, and that was the elemental power. And then they diminished the rule of that glyph. In the beta, some of the bosses, you use it. For example, you use it in Anua's boss, supposed to get into the boss and during the boss. You use it in Pohatu's boss to rain down stones you use to kick at the boss. In Liwa's boss, you use the hurricane glyph to push the boss back into the waterfalls. Can't get this grapple to work. It's really frustrating. You have to do the up and over in order to get into the later part of this area, and I can't accomplish the up and over. My reticle on there. Can I grapple? Wow, if I try to grapple underwater, I get destroyed. I guess I gotta wait for the time to run out. It's really loud on my end on the audio as well. So because they didn't have these glyphs, and they had a 3rd glyph, but its role was diminished. Like you don't use it in Pohatu's level anymore, and you don't use it in Liwa's boss anymore. The only 2 bosses that used it were in the beta were Anua's boss, and Tahu's boss used it just to get into the boss. It isn't actually used during the boss. In the beta, because there are fewer glyphs, they decide to, in conjunction, and this might be the reason why they decided to use fewer glyphs also, is because they're running out of time, they were behind schedule. And the boss man didn't think that they had time to, oh my goodness. Might have to quit out of this. No, I will not do this again. Don't worry about that. I know better than to do that in a Let's Play. We're going to Galley. So now, no, don't grapple underwater. It's because they didn't want to have time to refine these areas. They cut out areas that tend to contain these glyphs. Now, Pohatu's level got essentially spared from this. And they just didn't put glyphs in as many areas. But Anua's level, one of those places where you have this maze where you choose 3 doors, you have these choices between 3 doors, that was cut. Um, in Galley's level, lots of areas were cut. Galley's level was just kind of maraudered from the alpha to the beta in general. Kopaka's level, the area with multicolored stones was cut and the icy maze was cut. Leo's level, the platform, the shrine challenge with the vines was cut. It's going to be a risky move. Don't drown while grappling, I guess. So a lot of these areas were cut because, well, they had glyphs in them. And levels, it's like Galley's level especially, the areas that remained were made smaller. And so the game seems to have like less of an expansiveness, or seem less big in general. The areas you're traveling through just seem less big because there's fewer of them, and the ones you're traveling through can be smaller. And so you seem that contributes more to less of the feeling that you're going on an adventure, and more of the feeling you're playing a more fast-paced, more brief, more abridged, combat-focused game. I can't get this. I know this grapple works. I got to work once. You saw it on recording. I can't get to work again. Next, the most obvious thing about the beta works better than the alpha. It crashes less, and the save file system that the Beaver House came up with now works in such a way that you can get to the entire thing working off of one save file. You can also get to the entire thing without using the debug menu. In fact, I don't know how to get the debug menu to even work on the beta. All of the bosses work, and the transitions from one level to the other works. Now, I say it crashes less. That doesn't mean it's devoid of crashing. I don't know if it doesn't crash like to an acceptable level yet. What I mean by that is there are a couple areas that are kind of excessively crashy. One being oh, I lost my ability to jump. Well, I can't get the grappling to work. I don't know. I have to make this decision? Do I try to make the grappling work some more, or do I just debug menu across that gap, or do I try to cheese it somehow? I mean, I don't have the Kakama in my cache because it's Galley's level. Yeah, Makuta's level in the alpha. The mass icons just don't make any sense. They don't agree with what's on your face in the lower left. The area where you pick up the cow in Galley's level, I believe it's called Imwat. W-M-A-K, which is short for W-M-A... Yeah, W-M-A... M-W-A-T! There we go. It's abbreviation for Mask of Water. Crashes excessively. It's where you fight a bunch of Takia sharks and then when you defeat them all, the cow appears and you can grab it. Also, the area where you slide with the Ruru in Liwa's level, it still crashes every time you fall off. Unless you fall off in a lucky way that gets you to the end of the level. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to cheat. I'm gonna have to debug menu through this, so I'm gonna have to cheat because it's just not working. I don't know what else to do. I believe it is actually technically possible to make that work. It's just so difficult, it's impractical. But it's not technically impossible, so you can kind of get me on that. I was just like, Let's Play is becoming so bad because I'm not getting through this area, I need to do something to get through this area. Now, can I do the beta cheese here? Well, I'll try it. Might not be able to because the energy ball might not work. I can do the beta cheese, okay. So it's not really quite... I mean, remember the Beaver House was doing this for free. They were just volunteering because they just liked Bionicle and they liked preserving Bionicle media. No one paid them. They're not obligated to do anything, but it's just kind of like my honest review, right? Now the buttons, I believe, do not work in the alpha here, so I just had to do to cheese this with the Kakama, which is now available because I'm playing as Kopaka. Is that those two areas still are not quite an acceptable level, but you can eventually get through them, and then the game is entirely completable without the debug menu. Unlike the alpha, which is not completable at all. You have to use the debug menu several times in order to get where you want to go. Next thing different about the beta. The jump mechanics are different. So in the alpha, you can change your jump trajectory mid-air using the WASD or arrow keys. In the beta, your jump trajectory is entirely determined by your motion before you start jumping. And you have a fixed trajectory and landing position. And this makes the jumping and the platforming in general just more difficult. Now, there are some difficult parts of the alpha in comparison to the beta, just in that in the alpha there's some levels that are in areas that are in a pre-production level of difficulty, like Tahu 5 in Tahu's level. It would have been easier in the finished product. They just weren't finished with it yet, as evidenced by the beta. And of course, the what I just did, Anua's Makuta challenge, that would have been... I'm gonna utilize the timer glitch here. See, timer glitch. Oh, phooey. Might want to use the Miru here. However, this is the alpha, so you only have 3 energy increments. Got on a vine. So there's a lot of stuff in the alpha that's hard just due to the alpha's incompleteness. It's not really a fair comparison. But platforming in places like Kopaka's level and Liwa's level is more difficult in the beta just because the jumping mechanics are more realistic, I guess you could say. And also the Kakama and the Miru in the beta are less powerful. And the Miru doesn't actually, in the beta, doesn't actually work quite right. You have this walking motion as you levitate. It's like you walk on the air as opposed to levitate. So anyway, that's pretty much it. The beta kind of feels quicker, smaller, more combat focused, less adventurous feeling, and the jumping is harder. But you don't struggle with crashes and glitches and hard levels due to incompleteness as much. And there we go. And this area is much easier in the beta as well. Ah, phooey. I don't have any energy because it's the alpha. I only have 3 increments. Cool. And after done recording this alpha stuff, I'm then going to move on to Rebuilt. And Rebuilt, I've only played through once, unlike the alpha and the beta, which I've played through numerous times. And to me, Rebuilt just kind of feels like the beta. It's basically just the beta with what you do at the villages being made more tedious. That's all. But I'll talk about Rebuilt when I play Rebuilt, because I will have the mic on for Rebuilt. Oops. I thought I still had the Miru queued up, but I forgot that when it respawns a different Toa, it resets the masks. So this is the Miru, which looks like a cow in the lower left for some reason, but it is indeed a Miru. And I didn't get a good running start. And that's that. And it was a crash, actually. Okay, gotta restart the game. Okay. Alt tab to OBS. I find it's recording a black screen. Alt tab back to OBS. Now it's recording the game. Okay. Let's get Tahu. There we go. Let's get a running start this time. There we go, now we can levitate. But it's not working. Not enough levitation. Huh. Well, maybe we can do it the way we're supposed to do it. How's that? Let's do it old school. Uh-oh. Oh, I messed that up. Oh. So not that hard, necessarily. There is inconsistent timing, though, so you have to change your tactic every single, like, hamburger patty. Going right goes to a dead end. Oh, there we go. Now can we Miru jump? Yes, we can. Okay, I had to actually do it in the alpha. In the beta, I can just cheese the entire level out. Cheese the entire area. Okay. So this one's called, this is the CUDA, right? There is one area in the, in the alpha that's in the files which you can't actually warp to it. Yes, I don't know what you're meant to do here exactly, but we'll walk through it. Let's bail out. Okay. So, we went to CUDA and there was a crash. We can't even get to CUDA. Can't even get to CUDA in the debug menu. So anyway. So this is mana. You're supposed to fight the manas here, I guess. And in the beta, there is a cutscene stored showing a fight with the mana, which seems to indicate that they may have planned to ditch the manas fight in-game for just having it being a cutscene. Now I forgot which door was the entrance. I might go back out the way I came in, which was by warping. Okay, so this one's called Mon 1. Don't know who you're supposed to play as. You're going through here. Probably not Anua, if I were to guess. Probably Akamai or Weruha. It doesn't force me to change character. Grabbing. Drop on the ring. Supposed to probably do something in here, like fight or something. And it crashed. Cool. Unhandled exception C0000005 at some 64-bit memory address. Okay, I have to force quit the game. And then restart the game. Check OBS. Not recording it yet. It's like another difference between the alpha and the beta. These areas are not in the beta at all. And going through here, after Tahu's platforming challenge, which you can completely cheese and skip using the Miru, you get to nothing. That just ends it. Of course, the Beaver House patched it so it shows a final cutscene. So it doesn't just end, it shows the cutscene. But it used to just end. Okay. So we tried Mana, and that took us to Mon 1. So I guess now I have to do PST1. I hate this area. Oh dear. So much torture. Yeah, this one's brutal. I have to wait for them to line up. Or do I? That was cheap. Just a thing sitting up there ready to grab me. Just happened to line up wrong. Yeah. That pillar sticking out doesn't. These pillars, they don't go like straight in and straight out. They go at a funny angle. See that? It's like that wasn't even supposed to be there to get me. It's like a malfunction. Yeah. Ah. I'm gonna do this a different way. I'm gonna ledge grab on this platform. That sometimes works. Not that time. I guess I have to do it a little bit sooner, so it doesn't slip out from under me while coming up from the ledge. There we go. It's honestly pretty brutal. Now that this is activated on subsequent loadings of this area, it will now be just moving back and forth like this from the start. It won't be stationary for you. So then you have to wait for 3 things to line up as opposed to 2. Don't go too far, you'll get hit by that. Now, I have to line my stuff up so that I don't get hit with both these things. So I can just drop. How do I do the trajectory? Do I jump when it's closer to me or further away from me? You would think further away because it's right in the path. It's right in the midsection when it's closer, right? So you'd be at the more at the bottom of a jump when it's further away, or you might even be at a ledge grab. Yeah, so you want to jump when it's further. Okay. This is really stressful. Jump. Oh. 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 I was so stressed out about that. Oh. Okay, so that takes you to Mon 1. Oh. I'm gonna go check and see if I've been recording. What if I didn't hit record? Oh, phew. Okay. Hopefully, I won't have to force quit OBS and I'll lose that forever. May I not have failed Galley. It might have failed Galley's Makuta challenge, but I will not have failed Akamai's challenge. I'm just gonna drop for it. There's no fall damage in LOM. It's gonna crash, right? Yeah, it crashes. Okay, now we just have one more area to do. And this one is pretty easy. It's a little time consuming, but it's pretty easy, so we'll get it done. Gotta restart the game. Okay. PST2. So just you have to memorize in order. I've already forgotten it, but okay, cool. And let's try that one. That's wrong. Okay. 4. What? How are they both wrong? Okay, let's try this one. Now it's working. Okay. Okay. So that one. That one. That one. And this one. Cool, got another one. Okay. That one. That one. This one. And lastly, this one. That popped up another one. Okay. This one. This one. This one. Okay. Okay. There's alternating sides, that's helpful. And this one. And then this one. And then this one. And then that one. And all the pillars are up, and that should let me get through. Oh, I have to turn around and walk back, don't I? What? Yeah, there we go. This gets me to the same place that PST1 gets you to. Just I'm playing as Akamai now, as opposed to Weruha. And this will crash. Before I end the recording, I'm going to go back to Galley's area and take another stab at it for the fans, as they say. Once I manage to pull this process. It seems if you start the game with the task manager open, it'll crash on start for some reason. Okay, I'm already recording, which is good. I'm gonna go to Makuta, and then we're going to warp to Galley. I had it, and then I was too quick with my fingers, so I didn't think I was gonna get it. There we go. Try again. I'm so happy that I got PST1 so quickly. Those are the things that stress you out the most about the Legend, if you're doing a Let's Play of the Legend of Motunui Alpha. Room Ta 05 in Tahu's level. room Ta 13 in Tahu's level. Maybe Tahu 11 to a lesser extent. And PST1 in Makuta's level. Not working. I don't have to reach for this one, do I? That'd be crazy if we could skip. Can't give myself the Miru. I know I've made this grapple before. It has been made. Shooting kind of these weird places around it. Come on. Is that a crash? It is of sorts. There, I killed myself. Nope. Fine. Be that way. Try to get back there. Okay, one more try. I think I got this to work too in the my previous alpha recording. Of course, it obviously works in the beta because everything works in the beta to some degree. Sitting on the bitter edge here. I got my feet halfway off the platform. Still not close enough for you? Doesn't reach. Nope. Oh! Found a cheese. It's not how you're supposed to do it, but it's better than debugging. It's better than debug menuing. Now I'm crashing. Okay, let's do it a way slightly less illegit. Let's do a mechanics cheese as opposed to like a debug menu thing. Wow, it's harder than I thought it would be to me. This is another one of those things I'm only going to be able to get it to work once. What? There we go. 25 seconds. Seconds. Grappling hook. Yeah, you worked. Okay. It was a cheese, but it's better than debugging. And with that, I'm done. I'm hopefully done with Legend of Matanui Alpha forever, as far as YouTube's concerned. Unless something really amazing comes up where I have to go back to the alpha. If you watched all this, thank you for watching it. I'm out.